The film opens with a gray-haired old man standing in front of a window, lazily staring downward. Meanwhile, a group of hooligans is causing havoc on the cars. The car owner arrives to check out what's going on but is brutally thrashed. The owner eventually collapses in blood, unconscious. The hooligans also block the pedestrian crossing for an extended period of time. This is where shady dealings, murders, and robberies occur. Residents of the region simply go about their business without complaining. When he witnesses these horrific events, the elderly man has no choice but to stand by and observe. It's all because he told his wife years ago that after he took off his military uniform, he'd keep out of harm's path and live the rest of his life peacefully. Harry Brown was a senior officer in the Royal Marines. He retired from the army with a small pension and now lives in a secluded apartment complex near the slum. Every day, he walks to the hospital to visit his sick wife. Despite his wife's semi-vegetarianism, Harry pays her daily visits. Later, he visits a neighboring tavern to drink, speak, and play chess with Leonard, a longtime buddy. That evening, Harry gets a phone call from the hospital. He is informed that his wife is in critical condition. In the pouring rain, Harry gets up and walks to the hospital. He needs to cross the pedestrian route but is frightened of running into one of the hooligans. As a result, he decides to pursue another course. When he arrives at the hospital, he fails to see his wife for the final time, and tears and regret overwhelm him. The next day, he sobs as he buries his wife. Now, he can only socialize with his friend Leonard. The two men continue to play chess at the tavern every day. Leonard warns him to avoid Sid, the bar owner who specializes in stuffed firearms and ladies. However, the two are unsure whether this is true or not. Following that, they head to the restroom together. Leonard displays his concern after the thug shoved garbage into his mailbox and slapped him. He's had enough, so he takes out a cutlass from his coat pocket. Harry notices this and attempts to stop his friend, stating that he should report to the police station. However, Leonard claims that he has already notified the police, who only respond if someone is killed. He turns and goes out of the tavern. Late at night, someone sets fire to a pile of plastic rubbish in front of Leonard's house. Smoke immediately fills the room, waking him up. He gets to his feet and extinguishes the flames. He rushes to the door, breathing fiercely. The next day, the investigation begins. Detective Inspector Alice Frampton and her partner visit Harry's house and deliver the bad news: Leonard died on the sidewalk Friday night. The attacker's identity remains unknown, and authorities are investigating. Harry is in such anguish that he loses control of his voice. He is sad that he was unable to help his pal. However, Detective Frampton leads the police to the 4 suspects in Leonard's murder. Noel, one of them, arranges for his uncle to get an attorney. When the cops interview them, they all say the same thing. They not only insult the 2 police officers but also urge them to be cautious when strolling. Due to a lack of proof, the hooligans are released. Meanwhile, Harry becomes lonelier than ever. He no longer has someone to drink with or chat to. Disappointed, he has a few more drinks at the bar. He pulls out his money to pay for his drink, unaware that a junkie is staring at him. He walks back home along the riverbank. When he suddenly reaches under the bridge, a figure emerges from the shadows, brandishing a knife and demanding that he surrender his money. Surprised, Harry grabs the robber's other hand and points the knife backward at his chest. The robber collapses shortly and dies. Harry goes away, ensuring that no one sees him. The next morning, Frampton returns to meet him and provides an update on Leonard's case. Recognizing Harry's military status after viewing his photo and Marine Corps insignia, she informs him that at the crime scene, investigators uncovered an ancient army knife. It was covered in fingerprints and fibers from Leonard's clothing. He admits that he is aware of the knife and that Leonard used it to protect himself because the cops were unable to. However, she claims that the defense lawyer will argue that Leonard's killer acted in self-defense. This means that the killer would be prosecuted with manslaughter rather than murder. She encourages him to be ready for the outcome of the trial. Harry becomes upset and kicks her out of the house. He then grabs a trinket and a military knife from his hoard, which his wife had given him. He decides to plan his revenge and follows a drug addict to their home late at night. He claims he's thinking of purchasing a pistol to shoot the pigeons that have been squawking on his roof. They lead him to the yard covered with weed. It appears to be a modest, self-sufficient plantation. Harry enters the filthy and dark interior. A woman who has had an injection sits on the couch. In addition, he sees footage of her assault on television. In a fit of wrath, he grabs his gun, carefully loads it, and attacks them with both the knife and the gun while they are unaware. He then carries the woman to a parked jeep. He finds a barrel of gasoline and starts a fire in the entire structure. Harry drives the woman to the hospital in the jeep and inserts a wad of cash inside her clothing. He honks loudly before disappearing into the night. Later, the woman receives care, and the paramedics discover a large sum of money in her clothes. Frampton and her co-worker visit the hospital. The woman feels something is amiss since ordinary criminals would not shoot a woman and then drive her to the hospital. Harry walks to the church and empties the contents of the bag into the contribution box. Then he heads to the graveyard to say goodbye to his family. He is about to commence his revenge plot. Late at night, he peers out the window at the goons below. Finally, a chance arises for him to assassinate a dealer. Following the murder, he drives one of the goons upstairs to question him. Harry takes a leather pipe and yells at him. Eventually, the thug explains what happened. He claims Leonard assaulted them with a cutlass that night, but they beat him up. A man named Noel murdered Leonard with his own cutlass. Following that, the thug hands over the video he had captured. They stabbed Leonard with the knife and urinated on him. Harry is furious with the way Leonard died. He binds the guy and leads him along the pavement like a dog. Elsewhere, Noel and another thug become entangled in a terrible predicament during a gunfight. The chained thug is slain by his two horrified companions. Shortly afterward, Harry kills another thug. However, Noel manages to flee. Harry strives to keep up with him until he runs out of energy. He has empyema and slumps to the ground before passing out. He tosses his gun into the river. He is later discovered and taken to a hospital. Frampton shows up at the hospital to visit him. The doctor claims he is having difficulties breathing and is unable to answer police questions. However, Frampton notices the odor of gunpowder on his clothing. She believes both slain lads are connected to Leonard's murder and begins to mistrust Harry. She returns to the police station and tells the chief about her concerns and suspicions. She requests that Harry's clothes be checked for gunpowder. But the chief does not believe that this elderly guy could have killed multiple people in a row. Given the recent disturbances in the city, the chief has no time for her proposals. He even instructs her to withdraw the Leonard lawsuit. The police are dealing with rebellions in the city. It swiftly escalates into a riot, with protesters pelting police officers with stones and gasoline bottles. They also vandalize and burn cars. In contrast, the policemen respond passively by forming a shield line. Meanwhile, Harry softly wakes up in the hospital room, rises up, and removes the tubes despite the doctor's recommendations. He swiftly departs the hospital because Leonard's wrath has not yet been exacted. Frampton, on the other hand, learns that Harry has left the hospital without permission. She is confident he will go after Noel, so she and her partner Hayek race to the riot scene. The disturbances worsen, and Frampton and her partner are assaulted as they enter the neighborhood. Then, there's a serious vehicle collision. Hayek is hit on the head and suffers severe injuries. The two investigators are locked inside the car. Fortunately, Harry arrives just in time, assisting the detectives before heading to Sid's pub. When Sid notices them, he claims he'll call an ambulance and walks away. Inside the pub, Frampton spots the gun on Harry's belt, which confirms her suspicions. At this time, Harry recognizes she is telling the truth and declares that these thugs have made killing people into a sport, and he must teach them a lesson. However, she warns him that if he kills Noel, Sid will murder him because he is Noel's uncle. Harry is taken by surprise. It appears that Leonard was correct when he stated that Sid had done nothing but harm in his life. Later, Harry goes to meet Sid with a gun and is surprised to discover Noel hidden there. Sid knows what happened to Leonard and informs Harry that Noel did not kill him. However, Harry hands him the phone with the footage and reports that the hooligans killed Leonard and recorded the entire affair on the phone. He begins to feel dizzy, and Sid approaches, seeming concerned about him. He cautiously takes Harry's gun but then abruptly alters his mind and punches Harry in the stomach. When Frampton hears a motion outside the bar, she instantly calls for help. Noel arrives and assaults her. Unexpectedly, Sid leads Harry into the outer room and beats him as well. After that, Sid chastises Noel for filming a murder and plans to throw the detectives and Harry into the street to make it appear as if they died during the violence. First, they must murder them. So Sid presses his hand against Hayek's nose and lips until his breathing ceases. Then Noel attempts to do the same with Frampton. Fortunately, Harry wakes up, pulls the gun from his sock, and shoots Noel, who collapses and dies. When Sid notices this, he shoots Harry in the shoulder before approaching and raising his gun to shoot him in the head. Harry confidently instructs him to take the shot. Sid is quickly slain by the snipers after noticing 2 red dots on his chest. We realize that the cops have fully destroyed the drug cartel and bad forces in the city. During the press conference, a reporter claims that the former naval captain is a vigilante who has committed numerous murders in the hazardous area. The police chief disputes the story and declares that Frampton and Hayek would be granted medals. Harry strolls across a lovely grass walkway, which was previously covered with graffiti but has been repainted. Harry considers it and carefully walks to the sidewalk and underpass, which are now calm and safe. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.